about him? What made you comfortable with having him at second base?
Well, it was nice to be able to talk to Tingler. Tingler had him in San Diego, and just talk to him about the way he moves, his aptitude. You can look at the metrics and see that the first step's pretty good. So I think as much as anything, we felt comfortable that there was a solid foundation there for a guy that could play second base well. And Willie Adames had some. I don't know where they crossed paths, but Willie spoke very highly of him and the person and the type of character that he would add to the team. So, and add all those things up, we felt really good about him being a Giant.
It's to be determined, obviously, but where would you envision maybe a lineup spot that would make sense for him?
Yeah, I think it's to be determined. I mean, to his credit, when we were talking, he's like, I'll hit anywhere. I think he's a guy, again, I think we've talked about, it's important to me that he posts, he shows up and he wants to play. But I think his skill set of putting the ball in play, moving runners, there's a few different spots you can put him in. Not going to pigeonhole myself now. I think we'll just kind of see how it plays out here in the spring, but he's open to do whatever's going to help the team.
Did you hang out with Tony today during the workout at all?
Just cross paths.
Okay.
But yeah,
just finally see him out there in uniform with guys. But what does that mean to you? That guy who hired him, took a chance on him.
Yeah. So, I mean, the first time I got to see him was when we were in Korea, when he started working with some high schoolers in Korea, and you just saw a switch come on. We saw it today, or I saw it today in the meeting when he was addressing the pitchers. And, what I've learned about him is that he is really good about kind of turning that switch on when he needs to. Carries himself very confidently. Talked a lot about mentality and mindset, which I'm a big believer in as well. So it's hard to glean too much from first day of pitchers and catchers, but we're off to a good start.
Yeah, it's no secret that you guys were chasing second baseman all offseason. You do have some guys internally, especially Casey, who maybe ready for a shot. What made it so key for you to maybe use some resources at that position?
I think as much as anything, like Casey did make some big strides last year. Cost, same thing, made some big strides. And adding a guy like Arráez, I think, is an opportunity for a guy like Casey and a guy like Cost to learn from as well as they continue their development. And then it just gives us another layer of depth, in our infield to have Arráez. And then Casey being a guy that can play multiple positions, same thing with calls.
How do you envision using Casey, and also where does Fitzgerald fit?
Yeah, I mean, I think, Casey, like I mentioned, he can play multiple positions. So depending on the matchup, we feel like it's a good matchup for him to get in there and be in the lineup. Then we could insert him in different spots. Obviously, the DH could be open in some games. Maybe somebody else is DHing, and then he's playing the field. And then Fitz, I think I have heard reports that there's been he's moving in the box well. I think we'll get some looks at him on the infield, potentially in the outfield as well, and just see if some of that versatility will again add another layer of depth.
Buster, why do you think 28-year-old with 3 batting titles was available to you on a 1-year contract?
What do I think? It's a very reading question.
I mean, it's one of those things that it shouldn't make sense, right? But obviously, I think there's a lot of confusion about how this guy's valued within the business. And clearly you guys value him. Yeah. It's just, what do you make him?
I guess, like, the simplest way I can look at it is maybe we value or measure things differently now than as an industry than we did 15 to 20 years ago, or even born further back. It's hard to say. I don't know. I mean, it's I don't think I could give you a definitive answer, but we're happy he's here and he's a Giant.
You seem to be somebody who's made it pretty clear that you really like contact hitters, and that goes a little bit against the grain of what we have seen here since the rise of analytics. Why? Why do you like high contact, low strikeout guys so much? What's appealing?
Well, I'm a big believer in being the aggressor, and I think offensively it's hard to be the aggressor if you're not putting the ball in play. Now, I also think part of the reason I feel that way is that contact hitters for us right now do balance out some of the other profiles of the hitters that we have. So I'm not going to sit here and say that I believe that you build a lineup strictly with contact hitters. I think I draw a little bit on my playing experience as well as when the best teams I was on, when you get to the playoffs and you're facing the toughest pitchers, the teams that can put the ball in play and force the defense to make a plays are usually in a better position than the ones that are, going to strike out 15, 16 times a game.
The lineup now, there's probably maybe 6 or 7 guys that project to be at least league average. And when you're constructing the open day roster, and with Bryce in particular, knowing that there would probably be a lot less pressure on him with the guys they've got, is that a consideration, knowing that if he was to make an open day roster, there wouldn't be the pressure of expectation for him to immediately produce and have to carry an offense?
I don't know. I don't know if I really looked at it that way. I mean, I think even, prior to adding Arráez and Evader, you've got Rafi Devers, Willie Adames, Matt Chapman, Ramos is coming on, Jung Hoo's establishing himself. So there was kind of a cast of players that have been around the big leagues for a while. But I guess that's one way you could look at it also, is that it does afford Bryce, I think it's really important for him to understand that he's still pretty young in his career, and that we all hope that he's going to be that guy that carries the offense one day, but I don't think that's any of our expectations, right? And we hope. That'd be great. That'd be great if he decided that now was the time to do that. But for him just to continue to work on all facets of his game is the most important thing.
What are some of the boxes you'd like to maybe see him check in order to make that a consideration to be on the open day roster?
Well, I mean, it's really just all-encompassing and playing well, right? It's defense, it's base running, it's obviously the offensive side of it. So to me, like, somebody that has the potential, the ceiling that he has, you're hoping to see little strides forward in every part of his game.
There's still quite a lot of free agents out there, and no potential for trades. Do you see yourselves continuing to be active here during the spring?
I think we're probably more in the listen mode as much as anything. I don't know at this point how aggressive we're going to be as far as trying to go out and be the aggressor on some of these deals, but again, cliches, you'll listen and try to weigh what makes sense. But we're happy with the roster that we have, and high hopes for this group.
How would you assess the bullpen?
Bullpens are tough. I mean, we all know bullpens. I think there's opportunity for a lot of guys. I think that's the first thing that comes to my mind. So when you have opportunity, it's exciting to me to see who wants to kind of grab that opportunity and run with it. And we've all been around baseball for a long time. I think bullpens are the one piece of a team sometimes that is really hard to predict, good or bad. So with that opportunity, you're hopeful that some of these guys that are kind of on the fringe, and maybe some of our bullpen pieces that are trying to bounce back from whether it's an injury or maybe a down year, can seize that opportunity.
Would this be a consideration for the bullpen, or do you want to keep him as a starter?
I think we're, as much as anything, we want Birdie to just get back to being competent on the mound and not necessarily think one way or another whether it's bullpen or starting pitching. Just get back into the groove of being that guy that's on the attack like we saw at the beginning of the year last year.
You mentioned it to us a few weeks ago that this, Walker's done it, but this would be a competition a little bit. And Tony's talked a lot about maybe spreading the outs around. Your better teams had the hierarchy in the offense. Your 2016 team did not and struggled. How does your experience maybe color some of this and what you guys will do?
Well, I mean, I think what we have in that 10 12, 10 to 15 range, whatever it was pretty rare. Like, you're not going to have many bullpens that have that many pieces, many guys that stay consistently in a role for that long. So I think that's the first thing I understand is that's pretty unique and rare to have that. Personally, I do think, like, if you can find a role for guys, we're all somewhat creatures of habit. That's beneficial. But at the same time, we want these pitchers to understand, like, their role one week might look different the next week, just depending on where we are with health or where we are with who's been used. So we're going to need some malleability in that bullpen. And again, like I mentioned to Susan, that there is opportunity here, and we'll see who seizes that opportunity.
Just to really understand it, when you're able to go back to Detroit, were you guys in the mix to bring him back at all?
We had talked to him early, but hadn't had any discussions as of late.
When you say you guys are still listening generally on free agency, is that type of deal something you're still listening to or have in mind as something that could open up?
I don't know how much I can talk about free agency, right?
I don't know. It's up to you.
I'll plead the fifth. All right. I'll tell you this. Like I said earlier, and you can read between the lines, we're happy with the group that we have.
To Justice's point about the young pitcher Birdsong could do both. You have a lot of guys who could potentially be bullpen fixes for you. Is there anyone that is fully, like, has been a starter and now is fully a reliever? Or
no, we haven't made those calls. Talking to Jesse Chavez a little bit in the offseason, he made the point, and I think most pitching coaches and pitchers probably feel the same, that it's much easier to build a guy up to be a starter and then pull back instead of going the other way. So that's the way we're going about it right now.
We're not really allowed to roam the backfields. Is there anyone who kind of stood out to you today? And then a first day pitcher and the catchers, like from bullpens or doing your nails?
No, I thought everybody looked good. I mean, it's always. I worried about it a little bit as a catcher, but now in this position, I think I worry about it more. On day one, you just want everybody to get out of there feeling good and get their work in, because it's February 10th, and we're hoping they're pitching on October 10th and beyond. So as much as anything, I think it's good to get out, have probably a little bit of extra adrenaline, and then and just get good solid work in.
Did you happen to catch any of Will Bednar today? And how nice is it to see him in camp and healthy, and with the potential to maybe help you guys out at some point later?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, we're excited about him. I mean, he's kind of came on strong second half of the season last year, and obviously a guy with a big arm. Seems like he's kind of settling into that reliever role now, so it'll be a fun one to watch.
So was Tony did he grab a fungo in Korea? Was he hitting rounders?
Tony, yeah. Oh yeah, I'm sure he'll be mixing it up out here, I'm sure.
But you mentioned you kind of saw him light up, like, well, obviously see it talking at like his casual environment, but like what maybe especially stood out, just during that brief time of seeing him, like with these high school kids that he's probably not going to manage again.
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, he loves the game and he's passionate about teaching. I think those are probably the two things that stood out the most, and I think why he has had a successful career in the college ranks, and why I think he'll be successful here as well, is because those two things will take you a long ways as a coach. And I think the guys will feel pretty quickly that he'll be in the trenches with them and will care about him, but also he's going to be a guy that's, if he needs to push, he'll push as well.
Tony said that his speech this morning was more of a ramble. How would you characterize the speech?
I enjoyed listening to him talk. He's usually good for 4 or 5 good one-liners through his rambles, and they'll mix in some comedy. But he's talented, right? I mean, he's one of those guys that when he's talking, even if he thinks it's a ramble, you're kind of hanging on the words that he's saying. I don't know. I'm guessing it's probably something he's been anxious to do, and then we'll have a chance to do it again with the larger group here in a few days. But As much as anything, I think Tony's authentic, and for me, if you're true to yourself and authentic, I think people will buy into it, whether it's right or wrong. Sometimes even right, buy-in's important.
Mister, why do you think this has never happened before? Hiring straight from college to usually manager.
But I don't know. Couldn't say. I mean, I'm assuming like all the things that have been written, it's under 62 games versus 60, dealing with players that are making a lot of money. I do think that there used to be a bigger gap between college and professional baseball. Now I think that gap has shrunk some. So assuming it's a combination of those things.
Take this could open the door for other collegiate managers, coaches.
We'll see. I hope I'm not hiring a manager for 20 years, so that'll be up to other people.
Buster.
All right.
Hey, he was a whip.
Did your son go on the trip to Korea with you guys?
He did.
Had he had time?
He did, yeah. It was quick.